It's my first Christmas in the mission field. I get a phone call home. Sounds like I'm in prison. Well, I get a phone call to my family back in California, and I'm gushing about how excited I am for the future of the area that I'm serving in. It was this tiny little country branch, more like a twig, up in the mountains of Puerto Rico. But I'd only been there for a month with my first companion. We'd had transfers 2 weeks before, so I'd only had 2 weeks with my new companion. And I'm thinking, only a month and a half and a brand new companion here, we're probably going to be together, the two of us, for the next 5 or 6 months. And he's awesome. We've already kind of fallen into step, serving one another and ready to consecrate our efforts to the saints here. We're going to turn this twig into a ward. It's going to be amazing. Well, that was December 25th. On December 27th, I got a phone call from my mission president with an emergency transfer that had taken place elsewhere on the island, and he was asking me to pick up and move to go take a missionary's place. And I remember thinking, 2 days ago, I figured I had all the time in the world in this area. And now that time is over, and I'm picking up and going. I actually got to catch up with that companion I'd had for 2 weeks just a couple of years ago. And it was so amazing to reminisce on a 2-week companionship, and then nearly 30 years of absence, and then picking up a friendship like it had never stopped. It was really interesting. Well, think about in your own missions, those of you who served, what was your shortest area? Think about those of you who have served in church callings. What was the shortest calling you ever had? What's the shortest amount of time you've ever lived in a place? And with any of those short periods, how much of a difference did you make during that short time? Notice these 2 verses in section 51. Verse 16, I consecrate unto them this land for a little season, until I, the Lord, shall provide for them otherwise, and command them to go hence. Now here you have all these converts and settlers that are moving into Kirtland, Ohio. This is the place of the original place of gathering, okay? And so ever since section 37, this is where we're supposed to be, and so they're coming. But did you catch what the Lord hinted at? This will be a consecrated land. Welcome aboard. But it's only for a little season. Eventually, in fact, shortly, you will go hence, because I'm going to provide for you otherwise. It's one thing for us to look back in retrospect and go, oh yeah, Kirtland and Independence were kind of dual church headquarters for a time. Kirtland was only going to be a temporary gathering place. But these early saints, it's not easy to move in the 19th century. You're not just popping into some new temporary quarters. You're clearing land. You are planting crops. You are building homes. People didn't tend to move that often unless they were just kind of manifest destiny trying to seek a better life. Well, here's a better life the Lord has in mind for you. And it's going to require some moves. So here in Kirtland, don't get used to this place too much. But here's the irony. If you read verse 16 and think, wait, don't unload the wagon, honey. Don't pull out the plow, son. We're only going to be here for a little season. But then notice verse 17. 1 verse later, he says, the hour and the day is not given unto them. Wherefore, let them act upon this land as for years, and this shall turn unto them for their good. Now, you want to talk about whiplash between those 2 verses. Or better, you want to talk about a contrary to prove? Verse 16, temporary. Verse 17, pretend like it's permanent. Now, why would you need both of those? Well, think about it. If you're planning on a temporary move, you're going to be ready to change plans at the drop of a hat. I'm flexible, okay? I'm nimble on my feet. You tell me to do something and I'll do it. And I'm ready. I'm a minute man here. And at your service the moment you ask me to come running. Now, there's some positives to that, obviously. There's some negatives, though, and that's why the opposite side is needed. Act on the land as for years. Because what do you do when you know you're going to be staying in a place for a good long time? Well, you sink down roots. You unpack your bags. You make your house a home. You meet the neighbors. You make some friends. You join the PTA. you make a difference there. Because I'm planning to stay here for a long, long time. I remember one convert family who came to church. This is before their baptism. And it was a service project. And they spent all day with the rest of the saints in that area, cleaning the chapel grounds and everything else. And afterwards I said, man, thank you so much for your service. I can't believe you spent so much time here. And their response floored me. He said, the dad said, we plan on being here for a long, long time. So we want to make it the best we can. And that was a thrill to hear. Recently, I was in Memphis speaking at Firesides, and I was only going to be in the hotel for 2 nights. Do you think I unpacked my bags and used all of the drawers? Honestly, does anybody ever use the drawers in a hotel? Especially if it's only a 1-night stay? Now, I'll just live out of my suitcase. Well, unfortunately, sometimes we act that way in callings, or in mission transfers, or in passing relationships. It's just a semester. Do I really want to talk to the student to my left and my right? Oh, that could have ended up being a best friend. I wish you would have taken advantage of the time you had. In fact, as one who has spent a lifetime working with young single adults, there is no more mobile group in the church than young single adults. But unfortunately, because sometimes they know this place is only going to be for a little season, I'll be in this room, in this apartment, in this ward very briefly. So I'm not really going to try to make a difference. I'm not going to try to meet people. And that's tragic because you line up, you stack up enough of those, and how much time has passed in your life without taking advantage of some incredible opportunities to grow? You who served missions, think about how much of a difference you could make in a single transfer. You could leave a place better than you found it in a month. That can be true of church callings and relationships and friendships and everything else. One of the students I remember best from my Nashville time knew he'd only be in the area for a very brief period. He knew that going in. And yet, he acted on the land as for years. And as the Lord promised these saints, it turned to his good. He made friendships that lasted. He served in a calling and made a difference in a very brief period of time. In some ways, that was his motivation. I got to sink down roots quick because I don't have much time to wait. And that's the point. No time to wait and no time to waste. Be ready to move at a moment's notice, but grow in the meantime, and you will bless people. I hope that we can understand that in whatever circumstance we find ourselves. A couple in our ward, a family in our ward recently that worked for the State Department, and talk about knowing you're going to move frequently. But with that background, they sunk down roots. They made friends. They're gone now, but we miss them. They left us better than they found us. And if we can live our life like that, ready to go and willing to stay, you understand? If we can prove that set of contraries, we'll make a difference wherever we happen to be and however long we happen to be there.